Welcome. Thank you for joining our Project Management Best Practice Series webinar. I'm Becky Melody, your hostess for today's presentation. Bob Lesniewski, our Quality Compliance and Project Management Practice Leader, will be presenting. The discussion today will cover introductions, USDM at a glance, our webinar logistics, and of course the discussion topic, Project Management for Life Sciences. We'll invite you to post questions for our team via the iLink message board on the lower left of your screen, and we'll address the questions immediately following the presentation. Or if you're more comfortable, you can ask questions via email by sending an email to myself, rmelody@usdatamanagement.com. Bob Lesniewski is our USDM VP of Operational Excellence. He has 25 years in quality assurance and regulatory compliance in pharma, biotech, medical device, nuclear, and petrochemical industries. He leads the USDM Enterprise Quality Management and GRC practices. Bob is certified Project Management Institute, PMI of course, and a PMP professional. He's currently leading a global TrackWise implementation across 34 countries. I'm an account manager and marketing team leader for USDM. I joined the team nearly 5 years ago, and my background is QA compliance within the regulated industry. U.S. Data Management is focused exclusively on the life science domain. We're the market leader in providing quality and regulatory compliance, professional service solutions, and we're headquartered in Ventura, California. We are a compliance partner for many best-of-breed vendors, including Oracle, SAP, Sparta Systems, SoLabs, OpenText, ECM, and Agilent Technologies. We have delivered more than 1,000 successful projects with over 130 life science clients, and we're the preferred compliance partner for small, mid-tier, and large life science companies. We specialize in assisting clients with reducing regulatory risk while maximizing their investment in governance, risk, and compliance. Our directive is to simplify, unify, and optimize compliance and business objectives. The content will be covered in 30 minutes, and then as I mentioned, you can interact with our team via the message board. And if you're having any issues logging into the system, I suggest that you turn off the pop-up blockers. And this webinar will be recorded and made available on our website. The overall goal of the webinar is to facilitate discussion. We want to share ideas, provide the platform, and then get to the edge and explore solutions together. Now, I'll turn the presentation over to Bob. Enjoy the webinar.
Thanks, Becky. Good morning or afternoon, everyone, depending on what part of the country you may be in today, and welcome to our webinar. As Becky mentioned, my name is Bob Lesniewski, and I'll be your presenter for today's session. During our session today, we'll be discussing the application of project management principles to your critical projects and initiatives in the life sciences space. Let's begin with a review of our agenda. We're going to start with a brief review of a benchmarking study by the Standish Group of Boston on IT project performance. Following that, we'll look at a proposed IT project management framework and then continue with a discussion on practical project management techniques to communicate with and engage your stakeholders. We'll look at a tool which you can use to manage multiple stakeholder interests and avoid groupthink, followed by a discussion of success factors for managing virtual project teams. We'll look at some of the pitfalls of virtual collaboration to avoid, review the project closing process, and conclude with a discussion of 10 best practices that you can start using today. As you can see, we've got a very full agenda, so let's get started. I'm sure many of you are project management professionals or practitioners, and I don't know about you, but I can't help but laugh when I read glowing case studies of organizations that are enthusiastic, long-time practitioners of project management. In my 2 decades as a consultant, I've yet to experience such an environment. Most of the companies I've worked with haven't exactly fully embraced project management. Some felt that all it does is burden them with useless documentation and processes. Others considered it to be nothing more than hype. One organization I worked with sent its mid-level managers to project management training at a local university. They received impressive-looking certificates which they proudly displayed on their office walls, and then the organization went on doing things just as before. Still other companies were downright hostile toward project management, most often as a result of having had a bad experience with a previous project manager. Some PMs walk into the company with a guide to a project management body of knowledge, commonly referred to as PMBOK, held high above their heads like the prophets of old, and expect everyone to submit to its guidelines. In reality, that just doesn't work. When PMs expect organizations to suddenly alter years of habit simply because they're told to, people can become resentful very quickly. Though we understand the value of project management, many others do not, nor do they wish to. To them, it's a tool to produce desired results. They care nothing for risk registers or change control boards. They just want their projects completed on time and on budget with little inconvenience. Some people see project management as an arcane science of strange terminology and practices, yet few would dare to openly admit when they don't understand something, especially in a room full of peers. Whenever I suspect someone at a meeting doesn't fully grasp a PM concept, I take a moment to explain it to everyone. Not only does that go a long way toward demonstrating the benefits of project management, it can help gain buy-in as well. So today's session is not going to be a textbook abstract discussion on project management, but rather a practical-based discussion with emphasis on some of the tools and techniques you can use to successfully manage your projects. So let's start by taking a look at the Standish Group report. The economy is making the already dismal failure rate of projects even worse, and it's up to project managers to figure out how to turn those numbers around. Last year, only 32% of IT projects came in on time, within budget, and with the requested features, according to the Standish Group Chaos Summary 2009 report. These results are a downtick from the last survey. When the company released its previous survey, 35% of projects hit the mark. Of the 10,000 projects that were part of the current survey, 24%, which is up from 19%, were considered outright failures, either because they were canceled prior to completion or delivered but never used. The results mark a low point in the last 5 study periods and represent the highest failure rate in over a decade. Somewhere in the middle, 44% of the surveyed projects were considered challenged. Either they came in over budget, late, or without all the required features and functionality. The brutal economic environment certainly took a heavy toll on many projects, yet it's not exactly as if they were faring all that well before the recession. That's where the project managers have a crucial role to play. Project managers need to identify the core factors that contribute to their project's success or failure so they can improve their processes. Unfortunately, most companies either don't bother to evaluate lessons learned from failed projects, or they review them without a formal way to apply any takeaways in the future. To improve the probability of project success, you need a feedback loop, but in many cases, companies are too focused on getting on with the next project to document, analyze, and learn from what happened on the last one. We'll take a closer look at the closure process later in the presentation.